Hello and welcome to the Hellraiser blog. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed today's blog, please hit the like and subscribe button. Love growing the Hellraiser boxing family. Okay, so doing the today's blog, a prediction and analysis of Oleksandr Usyk versus Daniel Dubois. It's at Wembley. I will not be going. I've just been working away for 5 days. And so I'm with my family. I'll still be watching the fight on television, but I won't be attending. Last fight I went to at Wembley was Anthony Joshua against Daniel Dubois. And I will say, Daniel Dubois, he's shown a lot of heart, because after he lost the fight, well, first he lost the fight against Joe Joyce, he came back, he improved, he got better. He got beat by Oleksandr Usyk in their first fight in Poland, which I wasn't at either. I watched it on TV. Again, I thought he'd improved. I thought he'd got better, and he sparred with Moses Jolly, who I managed myself. So in the sparring with Moses, I've noticed him more composed and a little bit less wild, if you like. And I think he's improved for that. So I have to tip my hat to Don Charles and to Kieran Farrell, who look after Daniel's preparation. Why am I saying it like that? Because right, I love both of these fighters, actually. Oleksandr Usyk, for me, is an absolute phenom. He is a standout heavyweight for our generation. He's like an angry wasp. The movement and the work rate and the power and actually the preparation. I've been out to Kiev, where they have a palace of sport, and I used to take boxers out there, and quite often, if the boxers needed to lose weight, you went in your palace of sport. They had a boxing gym, they had a canteen, a swimming pool, a sauna, all these things. So quite often you'd go in there to skip and skip and skip. And I've seen the Lomachenko, Oleksandr Usyk, these guys that were brought through that system during the time that I was there. It's a high level of preparation that they give the fighters there, because Usyk and Lomachenko are only two, but there's a whole array of fighters beyond that who have been very well brought along thanks to that system that they have in that palace of sport. Usyk's preparation is almost like a TV show of its own. If you watch the stuff that he does with strength and conditioning, his preparation is meticulous, and it's rigorous, and it's beyond anything actually that I've probably ever seen, including with other heavyweights. He's just an absolute standout, a beast of a man. Now, Daniel Dubois is good, and like I say, I think he's improved, and I think he's got better, and I think we have to tip our hats to Don Charles and to Kieran Farrell. I've got a big but. I think we're going to see a different fight. So I'll say that first. I do think we'll see a different fight tonight. I think you're going to see Dubois, the improvements that he's made over the last couple of years, I think you're going to see those tonight. He's not just going to let the night pass him by and not express himself. If anything, Dubois' confidence seems to have embellished itself and evolved. And I kind of understand, because even quite experienced people in boxing have been saying about how they fancy Dubois for this one. And look, I'm going to say, look, I think Dubois has really got to have a lot of good luck, good fortune tonight if he's to win it. But he has improved. There's no doubt about that. I mean, I managed Moses Jolly, the unbeaten Welsh heavyweight, and we've sparred with Dubois lots of times. And in the time that we've been sparring with him, definitely I would say Dubois has improved a lot. He's matured. He's settled down. And it's impossible to know when a fighter is going to benefit from an experience, when it's going to actually destroy his confidence, when it's going to push him forwards more. But Dubois, for my reckoning, has definitely improved. He's sort of a little bit more compact now. The wildness that has been there at times, the openness defensively has sort of been curtailed, and that gives him a better chance. And it gives him, whether it gives him a better chance to win, it does give him a better chance to win, but I think it certainly gives him a better chance to account of himself, and he didn't give a bad account the first fight with Usyk. I mean, there was the low punch that, for me, it was a low punch. It did land low, it wasn't very low. The thing is, when you wear, like in pro boxing, you have like this heavy duty cup, and he was definitely hit with an uppercut, a rising punch. And as soon as it landed, like if you've worn one of those cups like sparred, you'd have winced when you saw that land. Because even if the actual knuckle doesn't land right on the testicles, to have one of those pulled up like that, you know it's probably going to have really hurt. Even if the punch is not directly on the goolies. So I don't think Usyk was faking it. I do think it was low, and I think he deserved to be given the chance to recover and then stop Dubois. And Dubois seemed to fall apart mentally in that fight as much as physically. I think he was tired, but I think he was taken to a level of intensity that he couldn't really deal with. Then you've got the first fight, then Dubois lost against Joe Joyce, and he seemed to fall apart mentally there as well. I know he had the fractured eye socket, so you can't say it was he fell apart mentally without good reason, but I did still feel that he came apart. And my experience normally with boxers, if they've done that once, unless they've undergone some huge major complete overhaul of their psychological setup, how they prepare for fights and how they prepare themselves for things going wrong, you get the same result next time when they're plunged into that same situation. So guess what, right? I fancy Daniel Dubois to actually give a very good account of himself. I think the experience that he's gained, his confidence especially, seems to have gone up. He's now, in my eyes, he looks like he's a lot more confident and a lot more able to just let his inner energy flow. That a lot of the tightness has gone. And actually how he holds himself defensively is more compact, so he's harder to hit. Having said that, Usyk for me is just a one-off. He is an absolute phenom of heavyweight boxing. He's like an angry wasp, like a huge angry wasp that buzzes and buzzes and buzzes and stinging you from all different directions. And I think there'll come a time where it will just be too much for Dubois. I think he'll account for himself very well. He's a brave guy. People calling him a quitter when his eye socket is shattered. Really? I don't think he's a quitter. I do think psychologically he comes apart. He panics in a way that I don't think that Usyk does. I think you can take Usyk into very deep waters. I would imagine coming from Ukraine when all this bombing and war has been going on over there, especially coming from a fighting background, I'd imagine he'd be very, very tough. And no one wants to see anyone get hurt or killed in boxing, but when you've got a fighter who you know will fight to the death, he'll take it to the absolute end, it sort of gives you a different type of confidence. And I just think that Usyk is that guy. I think he is, firstly, I've seen firsthand at the Kiev Sports Palace. I've taken boxers out there. If you've got a guy who wants to train after he arrives, you know, if he needs to skip off a couple of pounds or something, or wants to just have a workout, some fighters want to do that to ease themselves into the fight. He really stood out. How Usyk prepares himself physically is outstanding, absolutely outstanding, the best I've ever seen. And that's probably why he's so confident and why he goes in and he's a nightmare to, you know, the angles, the speed, the punch variety, the movement, the natural ability, the ability to the ring IQ and the ability to stay out of harm's way whilst delivering these lethal punches. I think that's why he wins. So I'm going to go for Usyk stoppage. I'm going to say round 10. And I think we'll see Dubois give a better account of himself this time. Unfortunately, I it goes the same way. If you've enjoyed the blog, please hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye bye.